Hey guys, I'm Annie Designs and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am taking part in the Costube 21 questions. Now these 21 questions were made by people in the Costube community and it's all kind of to celebrate and work up to Costube Symposium. Symposium? I think that's how you say it. Some of you might remember CoCovid 2020, an online event that took place last year during the weekend that normally would have been Costume College, where a bunch of costumers put out a whole bunch of media, a bunch of lives, a bunch of panels. There were things going on Instagram, on Discord, all sorts of things, and we're doing it again just this year as Costube Symposium. I will have some links in the description down below if you want to learn more about this event, as well as a link to the playlist of all these different 21 question videos. There are so many costumers who have already participated, so I'm sure some of you have already seen them around. Now I know most of my audience is here for cosplay related things, and there are other cosplayers in Costube, but it is also a little bit of historical costuming and other forms of costuming and sewing and creating and crafting. So I would highly recommend going to check it out and see if there's any creators that you might like over there. Now without further ado, let's actually get into the questions. I have them all written down in my notebook here. Let's get to them. Question number 1, my favorite genre of costuming. This is referring to if you like historical costuming or cosplay, which in my case, cosplaying as a form of costume. But I would like to dip my toes into historical a little bit more, but I'm mostly a cosplayer. Question number 2, what originally got me into costuming? Well, one day I just discovered it because I was looking for pictures from The Legend of Zelda to make my computer background. I needed a new desktop background, so Googling Legend of Zelda pictures, and I found a photo of Lai Kavox, known then as Pikmin Link, in her Link cosplay, and I thought at first that it was actually a drawing, and then I discovered it was a person in costume recreating scenes and different aspects of this character, and I realized it was a whole thing. So that's how I discovered cosplay. And then right away I started getting into it because, hey, my mom can sew. She can help me out with this. And she did. So my love for The Legend of Zelda is actually what got me into costuming. 3, what are your favorite materials to work with? I really enjoy using silk fabrics, but not your flowy, loosey-goosey ones. I have used silk charmeuse and things like that, but I really enjoy a thicker silk, like a silk shantung or silk dupioni. They're gorgeous, they look interesting with their textures, and they sew very nicely. What is your dream event or photo shoot opportunity? Honestly, I would really love one day to go to KatsuCon down in the States. I have seen so many of my friends go to this event, and I've never even been into an event out of my country. Out of my province, yes, but not out of my country. I would really like to experience KatsuCon because that's where people all bring their big fancy costumes. The convention center, the Gaylord Hotel is absolutely gorgeous, and I would just like to, get the opportunity to experience KatsuCon, seeing all these amazing creators and their amazing, detailed, gorgeous costumes. I just want to be a part of that. Question number 5, who do you look up to? Quite a lot of people, to be completely honest, but recently I've been really looking up to Cowbutt Crunchies. Cowbutt Crunchies is a duo of cosplayers, a couple, and they create absolutely incredible haute couture level costumes. They do original designs, they do fancier versions of already existing characters, they do such beautiful work, and they really inspire me with everything they do. And of course, there's a lot of other cosplayers that inspired me, like J Heart Designs or Garnet Runestar, but recently Cowbutt Crunchies have been really inspiring me. Even on the YouTube front, because they do have a YouTube channel. They really deserve to have like 1 million subscribers already. So if you're not subscribed to them, definitely go do that like right now, because their content's absolutely incredible and you'll learn a lot from amazing people. Question number 6, who taught you your crafting techniques? Originally, the person who taught me my crafting techniques, which was sewing, was my mom, who helped me make my original costumes, and a little bit of my grandmother as well. The two of them really had a hand in me becoming what I am today, a cosplayer, a creator, and a sewist. And then of course, most of the things that I learned, the core, the main, the more defined techniques I learned in school. If it were not for my mom and my grandmother helping me with my interest in sewing and creating, I wouldn't have gone to fashion and costume school. Number 7, which of your projects are you the proudest of? Now, this is a hard question because there's a lot of projects that I really enjoy, but I really did enjoy making my Cardcaptor Sakura cosplay that I wore for the World Cosplay Summit preliminaries. Very satisfying to make, and it's just a pleasing costume to look at. Question number 9, draped, drafted, or commercial patterns. Now, my preferences for patterns, pattern making, or pattern altering comes in depending on what kind of project I'm working on. A lot of the times I prefer to make my own patterns because I do have those skills, I do have that education, and I can make my own patterns. And depending on the project, I'll decide to draft it flat, but sometimes I'll also drape depending on what kind of shapes I'm needing. And sometimes when I'm working on a smaller project, I'll use commercial patterns because if it's not something where I'm going into a competition or it's just something that is just such an easier silhouette to get, it's something I know very well commercial patterns already have, I'll use the commercial patterns. But I actually do prefer to draft my own patterns because I have a lot more control over the fit and overall shapes without having to like reconstruct someone else's work already, because sometimes when you start altering a commercial pattern, things get all messy and really quick. Question number 10, pins or pattern weights. If you watch my videos, you see that I actually use both quite often, and it depends on what I'm cutting. Just like with the pattern question, depends on what I'm doing. If I'm working on a very large piece where I have fabrics that are just want to move around a lot, I'm gonna use my pattern weights. But if I'm using with small pieces and I can't use my pattern weights, I'm gonna use the pins. So it just depends on the project. Question number 11. What skill would you like to learn? I would really love to learn how to make custom lace. I've seen some people on Costube learn it. I've seen some friends of mine learn it, and it just looks super interesting. I think it would just be so nice to have the option to have your own custom lace, because sometimes trying to find a lace that fits what exactly you're making is really hard to do. What fabrics are in your online basket and you just would really like to purchase? Surprise, it's Silk Du Peony, my favorite. But actually, I'm waiting to do some more pattern making so I can actually order some Silk Du Peony right now. I have a few swatches from Silk Baron here for my Snow White cosplay, and for the most part, I think I've decided on the colors I want, and all I need to figure out now is the yardage I need, which means I have some patterns to make and I have some more measurements to do. These 3 beautiful colors are some incoming fabric that I'm really excited to finally order. What is the most unconventional material you have ever used? This one's fun. I've mentioned it a few times on my channel. My duct tape and steel hoop skirt. For my Alyssa cosplay, she has a visible hoop skirt as seen on the side because there's an opening on the side of her skirt, and you see this steel hoop skirt, and I didn't exactly have the tools nor the skills to make a steel cage skirt. And then I found metallic duct tape, and my dad had these strapping strips that were originally used to kind of like tie down extremely hard lumber. So we used some of that strapping, we reshaped them into hoops, covered it with duct tape, and then made the vertical supports out of duct tape as well. And it made for a really strong hoop skirt, and it worked really well for its job. Question number 14, which era or genre would you like to make a costume of? Now, there are a lot of different areas I would like to make costumes of. Like, I'd like to try a more armor build, I'd like to try some of this and that, but because I actually have an interest in historical costuming, an era I would really love to make a costume from is the Rococo period. Your Marie Antoinette type dresses, your gorgeous sack-back gowns, the Bla Bla Français. I have the book from American Duchess about how to make the gowns and different aspects of that century's work, and I would really like to put that to use one day, so. Biggest sewing or crafting pet peeve. Now, I'm not sure if this was meant to be pet peeves that you see on other people or pet peeves that you yourself do, or just pet peeves of things that you don't like working on while sewing. I'm gonna use a pet peeve that I see from others just because it is something that does get to me sometimes. That is when I see cosplayers with self-made costumes without pressing their seams. The costume otherwise looks beautifully made, but the unpressed seams are very distracting. After you sew the seam, just giving it a nice press, it can take your costume from this level to that level kind of thing, and it's such a simple thing to fix. So yeah, a minor pet peeve of mine. Question number 16. What is your favorite tool to use? Is it a cheap answer to say my sewing machine? I really love my sewing machine. It's an older machine. It was my grandmother's, and it was given to me when I decided that I was going to go to fashion school. I absolutely adore it, and if you look at my video about organizing this new sewing room, you'll see that my mom and my brother-in-law actually customized an old sewing table for me so my machine would fit in it, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and them in combination are my favorite tool. Question number 17. Has the pandemic changed how you craft? A little bit, yes. I would say that in the pandemic is when I've really gotten into doing Costube, for example, so almost all of my projects during the pandemic have been recorded, have been shown to the public on YouTube, but one thing that has really changed is deadlines. I don't have any. I don't have, oh, okay, well, in this many months, I have this convention coming up, I should start this cosplay. It's, well, I'm gonna work on this big costume right now because whenever it's done, maybe the pandemic will be over and I'll get to wear it. It's really strange sometimes to work on something without being like, okay, this convention's this far away, I have this time to work on it, so I just kind of work on things and finish them when they're done. Question number 18, what costume would you like to revisit? I'm currently doing that actually with my Snow White cosplay already, so I guess that's my answer. When I was 18 years old, I made Snow White from the movie Mirror Mirror because the costumes are so good in that movie. But I realized that there was a lot of things I could do way better, so I'm remaking it right now, especially because Aiko Ishioka, the costume designer, is one of my favorite costume designers, and this was her last movie that she worked on. So I want to recreate this gown she designed and make it more of an homage to her, and I feel like my old one just wasn't up to snuff for such a thing. So I'm remaking it right now. You can see all the progress on my YouTube channel so far. There's more videos coming down the line of me working on this costume, and you can also check out my planning video on that as well, because currently my remake's in the works. Question number 19, best tool you have ever invested in. Honestly, one of my favorite tools I've ever invested in or gotten is my serger. I got it early on during my fashion design school. I think I got it in my first year. It saved my butt on so many different areas. My particular serger has many functions, and I have put those functions to work. Question number 20, most satisfying technique. If you've been around this channel for a while and seen some of my sewing vlogs, you'll know that I love a French seam. Satisfying to do, satisfying to look at when well done, just satisfying overall. And finally, for 2021, question number 21, what are your goals and plans moving forward? So a big goal of mine, especially now that I'm working on a big project right now like Snow White, and also because now that I have a full-time job, I am planning on working on a lot more big projects. I haven't made very many big projects in the past few years, mostly because I couldn't afford them, and if I wanted to go to the convention and also wear a new costume, I couldn't afford to make a big costume and also attend the convention sort of thing. So I had to kind of pick and choose costumes that were a little bit on smaller scale. So I'm looking forward to working on some bigger projects with bigger budgets and take a lot longer to make and put a lot more detail into them, a lot more effort, and things that just take a lot more time but are equally as satisfying to make. I have a few big projects in mind for the next few, and I'm really excited to try some big projects and learn a bunch of new things, because I really enjoy the aspect of cosplay and costuming in general, is learning new things, trying out new techniques, doing things you've never done before, and seeing how they go. So guys, that was 21 questions from the 2021 Costube Symposium Costubers questions. I'll have links in the description down below to the playlist with all the other costubers who have done this, as well as information about Costube Symposium. I am also working on a video right now for this event, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm hoping you guys will also be excited about it, but I'm not going to tell you quite what it is yet. But I do have something really cool planned for this event, so be sure to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff if you're excited to see that and want to see what else I'm working on. I have some cool things in the works, and I'm really excited about some of them, and I'd appreciate the support. We've also just reached over 8,000 subscribers the other day as of filming this, so I'm sure we're well over that by the time I'm actually getting this video out. So I'd like to thank you guys so much for all that support. It's absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate it. So be sure to like this video and subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. See you guys later.